and only Nigel Kirwan, video coach for our Bolts. What's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm good, Jay. How are you?
I'm good, man. And, just talking to Sammy there for UT, and a lot of the same things for the Bolts, man. Like being a part of that organization and seeing how many people go to these games. And I'm sure you've seen how the Distant Thunder has grown over the years and people supporting you guys on the road. I mean, what is it like to be part of such a fantastic organization where people they don't even bat an eye, man. They're willing to go to these games, to go to Amalie Arena, go to Sweden and support you guys. It's got to be cool to be part of that inner workings of the fabric of that team.
Yeah, obviously very blessed, and it wasn't always like this, and you got to give Jeff Vinik a lot of credit here for kind of giving the organization some stability and the financial resources to be successful. It starts with ownership, and we've, dare I say, got the best in the business. But it's a really neat feeling when you're in another city like Sweden and you see thousands and hundreds of thousands, not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds or thousands of Lightning fans walking the streets of Stockholm. Or the really big one actually was a Nashville outdoor game. I mean, yeah, I couldn't go 5 steps on Broadway without running to somebody I knew. Tampa fans just took over Broadway. So a really cool experience. So to be in the middle of this and then be a part of it, and obviously we've had some success here, and this community has completely embraced us in such an awesome way. And it's been fun, and we're going to try to keep it going.
Yeah, it's funny because when I remember in Nashville, I got out of the cab or got out of the Uber and I was walking. I was like, I'm going to say Go Bolts to every person I walk by. And it was like, no, it was like 45 straight people. And I didn't know how many I was going to see. And then it was like 45 straight Lightning fans. I'm like, all right, there's a ton of Tampa people here, man.
Like I said, I couldn't take 5 steps though running into people I knew. And everybody wearing Lightning stuff everywhere. Like every bar, every balcony, there was just Lightning people all over the place. Like that one was thousands. So, and a very small space too. Like it's not a big. Yeah. But
right, man. I was at Ian's place yesterday, and he brought up you being a ball boy for the Buccaneers back in the day. What is your favorite memory from being around the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, being a ball boy back then?
Ooh, I have a lot of good memories. So I used to warm up Vinny Testaverde on before practices, and we had some great conversations. I remember watching Joe Ferguson throw a curveball with a football to my brother, and just my brother tried to catch this ball that started outside and then would drop inside, and I knew Joe was able to do it, but I had my brother catching. He was a high school wide receiver at the time, and it's little things like that. Steve DeBerg, I remember the day he got cut, and he kind of came into the locker room and he had his head down and a towel over his head, and we all thought he was kind of crying. It looked like he was kind of upset. And then all of a sudden he whipped the towel off and started laughing about how he fooled everybody in the NFL for all these years, and he should have been cut years earlier, and just went the other direction with it. The whole locker was laughing. And a lot of fun little stories like that with the people I encountered and the people I worked with there. At the end of the day, I think that's what I remember the most is just the relationships I built, like Ian Beckles. I was there when Ian was drafted, and he treated me really well, and we've been buddies ever since. And there's others, like Mark Royals, and there's been a bunch. Winston Moss used to, when Ray Perkins was the head coach and I was a ball boy for practice, sometimes the ball would bounce away, and if at any time it went near Winston Moss, he would grab it and he would throw it as far as he could in the opposite direction, because he knew if that ball wasn't spotted in time, Perkins was going to just go and lose his mind. Right. So he thought it was hilarious. And I love Winston. He was great to me. He used to do that. Every time a ball would bounce towards Winston, I'd be like, oh, no. So, and we'd only have so many footballs on the field at one time where you'd be running and spotting. So for him to do that, it would throw the timing off. Then Perkins would just lose his mind. So
that's great. I love that. Yeah, I saw Mark Royals yesterday too, man. It was.
I have not seen that guy in a long time. We text each other right now, and I haven't seen him in a long time. So if you do, tell us hello.
I will, man. He looks great. Saw him at Ian's place yesterday at the cafe. Obviously a lot of sports still going on right now. Baseball side and NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs. When you guys get knocked out, how much hockey do you watch after that? I can't watch the first round after it.
I find it a little tough to watch it right away. It takes me about a week to 10 days. That being said, if I'm out somewhere and it's on TV, my eyes automatically go to it. I don't really seek it out for the first 7 to 10 days. I don't actively look to go watch it, but I find myself watching most games, most nights anyway, just naturally. So
Yeah, and obviously the series and going down to South Florida and seeing what the Panthers were able to do, and it's them being one win away from going back to the Cup. I mean, somebody was posting it the other day. If they make it to the Cup final, it'll be 6 years in a row a team from the state of Florida make it to the Stanley Cup final, which is pretty wild. What was it about Florida? Was there anything watching them was different from last year? Because I feel like the team was more suited to go up against them this year, knowing that the 5-on-5 play was better, the defensive play. We know what guys like Mac were able to do to contribute to that. But was there anything, do you think, that surprised you guys about the Panthers, or was it just like they were just executed at the right times?
No, they executed. They played extremely well. There was nothing that they didn't surprise us with anything. I mean, the physicality we expected. I think the thing that, and I'm not making excuses, the Florida Panthers were the better team. They won. Right. God bless them. Congratulations. And so I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses. I think the thing that we ran into that affected us more than people realize is we were healthy all year long until the playoffs started. And then we just got injuries that were, to people that were key. And like Cirelli probably should have been out 6 to 8 weeks. And, Luke Glendening probably should not have been playing, but a testament to the kind of warriors those guys are. They're like, we're not coming on the lineup, like we're going to play. Like Yanni Gordy, he couldn't hold a stick, like he had a broken hand. And so I think, again, I'm not trying to make excuses. I think that played the biggest role in probably us not having the outcome we were looking to have.
Bjorkstrand too. I mean,
Bjorkstrand. Exactly. We brought him for the to be in the power play on that right side, and he didn't even get to the series. So we just. And I've always said this. I said this in 2004. I said it in 2020. I said it in 2021. To win the Stanley Cup, you need two things: you got to be good, and you need to be lucky. And we had those in droves all 3 years.
Right.
And I think. Again, I don't know Colorado's lineup or team very well. I don't know Florida's team very well from what's going on behind the scenes. But, I know they're good, but luck's involved in there too, And I think every team that's won the Cup the last few years had a combination of both those things. So I know we certainly have. And I think this year we just got a little unlucky with the injury side of things, and that probably had a bigger effect on the series than anything else. But I don't think Florida did anything that surprised us. I think we were ready for them. The physicality we knew was coming, and I've seen this team handle that before, no problem. So I don't think it was that. I just don't think we were at our healthiest, and I think it cost us.
Yeah, and I've been saying this for years now. Is Braden Point doesn't get injured in that series against Colorado, we're probably looking at three-peat. It's just like I remember being out there and being one of the few Tampa guys in Colorado and watching Pointer do whatever. Like he fell and everybody, and I was videotaping. I was like, I'm not going to post that. He was giving it everything he had, but it was just like you lose a guy like that. Listen, they lose McKinnon in that series, so we're having a different conversation, right?
Yeah. That's the luck factor, and you got a puck. It's puck luck. It's calls to referees. It's injuries. Like I always said this with that Colorado series. I don't know who would have won it, but I would have liked to have played that series with a healthy Braden Point, and I think Cirelli was also hurt for that one too. I would have liked to replay that series with both teams being healthy, or with us being healthy. Certainly, I'm not saying the outcome would have been different. I don't know. Hats off to Colorado. They won fair and square. They deserved it. Congratulations. But I would have liked to play that series with a healthy Braden Point for sure.
We see Jeff Blashill getting the job with Chicago Blackhawks, and really good to be able to see a guy get the opportunity after being with Detroit, and then here we understand his relationship with Coop over the years, and now gets the job up in Chicago. What did he bring to the table? Because I think sometimes it's harder to glean for the casual fan of like what the assistant coaches do, because people could just say, all right, he works. I mean, everybody knows what you do and what Franz does, right? Because they're like, oh, video, but I think sometimes like the assistant coaches, when it's not as defined offensively, defensively, what did Jeff do as far as helping out with the coaching staff? And who is that not saying who is the next guy, but what is that next guy going to have to try to do to kind of be part of that puzzle of the coaching staff?
Well, I think the biggest thing that Jeff did coming in as a head coach, and a very, very smart hockey guy, very intelligent, he wasn't afraid to challenge the status quo, which is what you need. When you've had success and you've been chugging along and you've won some Stanley Cups, it's really easy to get stuck in where you're at and not try to test new norms and new boundaries, or try new ideas. And so I think the biggest thing Jeff Blashill did for us was he was able to come in and say, hey, what about trying this, or what about this? And he brought great. Him and Zets teamed up to do the PK, but they were awesome jobs on the penalty kill by both of those guys. But really, he was able to keep us on our toes and not be afraid to say, hey, have you guys thought about this? Or what about trying this? And always looking for new ideas or different ways to be successful, because everyone's going to come after you when you won. And so you have to be ready to, change things up a little bit. And I'm not saying we made a lot of changes, but he was able to come in and just challenge the status quo a little bit and make sure we were staying on our toes and not getting complacent in how we were doing things in the past. So really good with analytics, brought in some new ideas from an analytics standpoint that he had in Detroit that I thought were really good and helped us. And I'll tell you, he's an excellent hockey coach, and he should be a head coach. He's not an assistant. He's a head coach in the National Hockey League for sure. And it's a big loss for us. It's a big loss. He's going to be hard to replace. He's excellent what he does, but he's where he should be, and that's in a head coaching role.
Speaking of head coaches, everybody knows my relationship with Coop. He's always giving me grief about my shoes, and we just, we have such a great relationship. And what is it like being around Coop, just like the guy? It's one thing to be around him as a coach, and we always laud him for his even keel and the way he's able to talk to players. And, he's grown so much and be able to come up from the AHL to here and winning everywhere he's went. But being around Jon Cooper, the guy, and I feel like for me, it's been great to get to know him as a human being, as a dad, as a husband, even away from the rink at a lot of the charity events. But just being around him and just, what is it like to be around Coop, the human being?
It's fun. Maybe a little too much fun, to be honest with you. But I think the biggest thing, you have to have your big boy pants on, because he's very witty and he will chirp the crap out of you.
Yes.
Well, you see that. He can't help but chirp people all the time. Like, he's looking for a reason to mock you. So anything you slip up or do or say, or you can expect something's coming in your ear. He's gonna come after you in that way. But he's a lot of fun away from the like we work hard in the office, and there's a lot to be done, and he's a strict boss in that regard. Away from it, it's we're like anybody else. We like to have a good time. We like to go fishing. We like to go to the horse track. We like to sit at a bar and just talk hockey and have a beer or two. We go to cigars and smoke. Go to Ebor's, and smoke cigars. Like, we're very casual that way. When we get away from the office, we kind of go decompress, and we do that often as a staff, and it's fun. A lot of staffs just. Everyone goes home at night, and we'll see you for the next day, for the next game or the next flight. But this group is pretty good about getting together and just discussing hockey stuff, but away from the rink in a more casual setting. We spend way more time together at home than you would think in doing that kind of stuff. And so that's unique, I think, a little bit to compared to other staffs I've been on. Where we get together a lot as a group in Tampa, away from the games, and I think that's driven by the personality that is Jon Cooper. Yeah. I hope he does not hear that, because he will absolutely kill me for saying that.
Oh, that's so
sorry, Coop.
Sorry, Coop. We love you anyway.
I meant Coop, not John Tortorella.
Yeah, so. We know. So take us through, because they did a really good thing. I think it was on Recharge, kind of giving everybody a behind the scenes look at kind of what your operation is on the day of a game. So for people that haven't seen that, what is it like for you because you can't be, oh wow, we need this replay. You need to be so it's every zone entry, every high stick, every puck near the glass. Like, how does that go when in the middle of the game? It's you and Brian, and you guys are just focused. Like, how does that operation go? Are you like, hey, close play there, I'm going to take a look at this. Hey, we got to check that zone entry. What's that communication like? And then how do you communicate that on the bench with the guys?
So to be honest with you, we have two computer systems that are doing different jobs that have to be managed by either Gar or myself, right? So I'm doing most of the hockey coding stuff, like everything happens within the game from a systematic standpoint, kind of logging all that, making sure it's marked, notes are on it, listening to the bench for anything that they may want me to just mark down for them to look at when they come in. And then Gar really runs the replay machine. And I'll tell you this, most of the time, a lot of the time, like on offsides, I'm not even involved. Unless it's a close one, unless it's a really tight one, that's when we'll have a discussion. and then we'll make a decision. Sometimes it's Gar, sometimes it's me, sometimes it's Coop that makes the call.
Right.
And sometimes it's like we don't think we should challenge here, but Coop will challenge anyway. And to be honest with you, he's actually been pretty good in getting those ones right when we're not sure, we don't have a good angle. So it's a team effort for sure. And the way we communicate is Brian and I are both on headset to the bench. And Franjean, our goalie coach, he's on headset up in the booth, and then on the bench you have Jeff Halpern, although he never wears his earpiece. Jeff is notorious for asking us questions, but his earpiece is never in his ear. So it's like, Jeff, Blash, can you tell Halpy the answer to this question is this? So most of the communication is with Blash in terms of when we're making those calls, and a lot of it, like, in terms of the entries, we're checking that every single entry automatically. Like, we're just looking at it. So the easy ones are the ones where it's so obvious we know, and Gar will say, hey, this is offside, and I don't even look at it. Like, I just, I trust him, and I don't look at it at all. And we know ahead of time, and we'll tell the bench, like, before puck even goes in the net, hey, this is offside. So if you see a real quick challenge after a goal, you know that it was an obvious one.
Right.
Where I get more involved is when we don't know, when we're not sure, when it's really tight. If you see us delaying, or guys hanging out, going to the face-off right away, or lingering by the bench, or Jeff Blashill and Coop kind of really look at each other, and Blash yelling in his headset, and that's when we're really trying to take a look, and we're both looking at the screen trying to make a decision on to whether to call it. But it's usually a group effort in terms of the decisions get made and how they get made. It's usually a group effort. And sometimes when we're not, we'll tell Coop we're not sure, we don't know, and then Coop will not challenge it, or he'll sometimes gamble and he'll challenge it. So
for you, you're more focused on like what the players are doing and kind of things like that, and what teams are doing, what the other team's doing, kind of stuff like that, as far as how you guys can utilize that to break down tape to make the team perform better.
So basically what has to happen, I'm kind of playing the piano the whole game. Like, as everything that happens gets logged into our computer system, like everything gets marked. It could be whether it's a fight or whether it's a penalty, or it could be systematic, obviously, like face-offs and breakouts and neutral zone tracks, or entries. All that has to be cataloged and marked so that when the coaches come in between period, they can access what they want to see really quickly. If they want to see breakouts or why we can't break out, they need to be able to go to that computer system and say, hey, show me all the breakouts. Well, that has to be entered. That has to be marked and logged as the game's going on. And that's what all of us across the league, there's at least one guy doing that. So that's what I spend most of my time during the game doing. And I'm also listening, like they may say, hey, Nigel, mark that something unique and put a note on, and I'll make a note for them. So that when they come in, they can pull up, they have a button that they can hit that pulls up just their comments, and that clip will be there. They have to go looking for it. And then sometimes we do meetings in between periods. If the game's not going well or there's a problem, then Coop's going to want to go in and show the team some clips. Well, we have to have that stuff easily accessible, so that, because we only have about 8 minutes before we need to go in and talk to the team. So by the time the period ends to the time when Coop's going into the locker room to talk to the team, there's only about 8 or 9 minutes. So you have to spend those minutes wisely and efficiently, and so my job is to help make sure we're able to do that by making sure everything's cataloged and available to be seen upon entry from the coach, with the coaches in the locker room, into the coach room.
It's intricate, man. Intricate as hell. Holy smokes. So what does the rest of the summer look like for you, man? When do you start getting kind of back in the groove and start preparing for the next season?
So right now I trickle in a couple days a week, but it's all paperwork stuff. It's all ordering, like maybe new computer. Well, we have a new coach coming in, so I'm gonna have to get a new computer for him and help Blash transition out. It's supply stuff. It's new trunks for some of our video equipment. It's that kind of stuff. But stuff I can take the entire summer to do. Right. We kind of go back at it sometime. I always tell people Labor Day. After Labor Day, I'm kind of back to work, and that's usually when we start getting ready as a staff to plan training camp. The week to 10 days before training camp starts, we're back in the office pretty hard in terms of planning that. That's a lot of work. But my summer is, I can kind of do what I want. I can trickle in and out of town as I please, and you always have to be available for a special project. If Coop calls up and says, "Hey, I need you to look at this or pull this together and send it to me," then I have to be ready to do that. But summer's pretty casual: fishing, golf, and that's really about it for me.
Before I let you go, man, who is the one player over the years? It could be on this team or over the year that wants as many clips as possible. Because I know this on the baseball side. I talked to some guys; they don't want to know. They want it to. And it takes. They have to go to a major slump before they look at a video, and then other guys wants to see every at bat, every pitcher. Who's the one guy over the years that he wants to see as many video clips? He's trying to break everything down.
First guy that comes to mind is Nikita Kucherov. He is extremely diligent about watching his game and watching every shift, and knowing what he did or did not do. He's the first guy that I'm concerned about in terms of getting him his stuff right away. It's like, okay, as soon as the game's over, I spend a few minutes getting his stuff ready and getting it to him as quickly as possible. JJ Moser is another one, and the other guy too. I'll stick with guys that are on the team now. The other guy too is Connor Geekie. Okay. Connor Geekie is pretty diligent about watching his. I'm not saying there aren't other guys, but the guys that stick out the most in my mind right now would be Cooch, JJ Moser, and Connor Geekie. So,
Moser is a guy that, bro, he talks to me after every morning skate for like 10 minutes. Like he's a talker, bro. Like there's certain guys like you comments, quick comments here and there. Mo's asking me questions. Did you watch this game? Did you do this? Did this? What's it like being a media member? What's the worst part? What's the best part? I'm like, this dude, he's the last guy to get ready. You know, coaches are coming in. Dude, you still got your uniform on? Like, he's a guy. He's a different cat, isn't he?
He's a great guy. Great guy. I love him. He's a big personality and a really nice, kind person. Like one of my favorites on the team. He's a little pale for my liking. Like I keep telling you, got to get some sun, man. Oh my God, he is white.
Yeah, man.
He is really pale. So I'm always busting his chops about spending some time in the sun, but I don't think he can because he'll get burnt. So
that Swiss skin, right? He did great at the World Championships, which was great.
Yeah, he did. He's a guy who's going to have success in his career because he wants it badly, and he puts in the time, the effort, and really studies the craft. So I think he's only going to get better and better over the years.
The one and only Nigel Kirwan, video coach for our Tampa Bay Lightning. My brother, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time. Let's get together soon. Fishing, golf, Ian's. Let's do something.
Happy to do it. Say hi to your boy Ian for me, and let's tell him to get a trip set up. And let's go fishing.
Let's do it. Tell Coop I said hello. Tell him I got some fancy shoes for opening night. I know he's waiting with bated breath.
You can always tell when you're coming down the hallway because those shoes are just like radiating from down the hallway.
And if I wore a pair of brown shoes in one of the games here, Coop looks at me. He's like, "You're getting lazy in your own." Thanks, Coop. These are the most expensive ones I got, but they're brown, so Coop hated them. Appreciate you, brother. Talk soon.
All right, take care, man. Thank you.
Thank you.